So, my mom got a new boyfriend, Scott.
Now we're talking.
But I caught him doing a bunch of really shady things. Which made me do something kinda crazy.
Yes!
So, what did I do? Was I right or wrong? Take a guess in the comments. It's a 50-50. Since forever, all I've known is just me and Mom. I never met my dad, and I didn't know much about him either, other than he was a complete beep, and should be beep, and beep! Anyway, it was always just the two of us. We loved spending all our time together. But then, Scott happened! One day, Mom told me that she'd met someone called Scott. And at first, I didn't think much of it. But soon, all she talked about was Scott. She changed, and she started spending all her time with him. I didn't even know much about this Scott, other than that he was a gardener and a Trekkie like her. Was he really a gardener? I needed to investigate. Lucky for me, I had expert journalist investigative skills as I ran all of my school's social media. My first clue, I had never met Scott as he never came into the house. But even so, I could see that this Scott had been here when I had been at school, and he'd even brought his power tools. Did he go in my room? Did he go in Mom's room? Did he wipe his feet on the welcome mat? So I took the investigation even further. My next clue, to find out his full name. So I asked Mom and Googled it. And what did I find out? Oh, it's shocking! Well, okay. It turns out Scott is a gardener. He has a website and everything. 5 stars. But then I thought, or is it a cover? I mean, do we really know anyone, right? I mean, he looks like a gardener. And then I found it, the truth about him. He couldn't hide it anymore. So what did I find out? Brace yourself. Scott had a secret love child. I told my mom that she should be careful of this Scott, if that was his real name, that he had a secret love child called Rosie. And to my surprise, Mom said that she already knew about Rosie, who wasn't a love child, but his daughter. She also said that she'd love me to meet Scott, see how kind and caring he is. I thought, this does not sound good. I'd have to step up my investigation before it was too late. A good journalist quizzes its subjects. I asked him if he drank, smoked, drank and drove, smoked and drove. Was he a good tipper? Did his mower have a power breaker? Mom suggested I lay off the questions. Tell Scott all about me, but I didn't want to. I barely spoke with Scott all night. After Scott left, Mom had a talk with me, saying I shouldn't be jealous of Scott, that he would never be more important than me. She said I wasn't jealous, that all I was doing was making sure he wasn't a psycho. And then Scott disappeared. They broke up. I was like, win! It was just the two of us again. But then, Mom was always super sad. Well, that is until they got back together. And it was even worse this time. Scott got her this necklace. Looked cheap to me, which she just adored and heartily took off. To make things worse, they even made me meet his secret love child. Sorry, daughter. Like, I wanted to be lumbered with a stupid younger sister. It wasn't right. Why couldn't it just be the two of us again?
It's so nice.
I hated it. It wasn't fair. I hadn't asked for this. Mom and I were doing just fine on our own. We didn't need a Scott. How could I make him go? I hated him. I don't know why I took the necklace, but there must be something wrong with this Scott, I thought. And then, sure enough,
Huh?
he was up to something.
Huh?
But what? Then I got the proof I needed. He was cheating on my mom. And And he was a drug dealer. That was it. I was going to take him down. That evening after school, and Scott had finished work, I decided to confront him as soon as I saw him, show him my evidence, tell him never to see my mom again, and be out of our lives. And there he was. This was the moment of truth. I told him I knew he was cheating on Mom, that he dealt drugs, probably to kids, and he'd never be my dad. I mean, I never expected to say that last bit, but anyway, back to the scene.
Huh?
So, I showed her the pictures. Scott insisted that all those people were to help organize Mom's surprise party. The woman in the cafe was the party planner and helped him choose the decorations. The man had made the birthday cake. I felt terrible. I got it all wrong. So wrong. Mom hadn't told me to go to my room since I was like 7. Ruined Mom's birthday party. Made a fool of myself. And Scott didn't do anything. But then I thought, unless this was Scott's plan all along, to get rid of me. He didn't care about me. He'd be carrying on with the party. But guess what? Scott wasn't carrying on at the party. He knocked at my door. Said he wanted to talk. He said that he didn't ever want to take my mom away from me. Wanted us to be friends. He'd love it if I gave him a chance. And then something happened that made me go so red and feel so stupid. Well, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Just watch this. I told Mom I was sorry. That I'd been jealous of all the time she spends with Scott, so I took the necklace. And I was sorry I accused him of cheating and being a drug dealer. And so I made an effort with Scott, and he wasn't so bad. Even though he keeps trying to get me into Star Trek. And I realized that I didn't need to be jealous. As it turns out, having Scott in my life enhances it. He's always there for me and super supportive. Even if I do the wrong things. Like a dad, I suppose. So, have you ever been jealous of your parents' new partners? Oh, and if you liked my story, check out my friend Allie's, as she ended up putting herself in great danger when her parents split up. You have to see it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.